I'm supposed to be moving everything over to Twitch. It's not going to be happening until the middle of this month, so yay! Because I forgot my password! Aren't I a brilliant one today? Anywho, I do have an announcement to make. I announced earlier, well, I have been doing some research for a while on this one, topic. It has been a topic I hold near and dear to my heart, but it is an intricate part of my family, and it is something that, I believe that now would be a great time, considering that Illuminati had done a video a while back regarding, the blacklisting in Hollywood and all that. What had happened was, back when my little sister was doing, what is called pilot season, she had an experience in Hollywood, which to this day baffles my mind, because I don't know how the hell my little sister could ever really express how this happened or why it happened. It just did. And most of what happened was a pretty bad situation, because again, my little sister told me the story. It was not something that was made up. It was not a, oh, my sister made it all up. No, what occurred is something my little sister had brought up in regards to a former, oh man, if I could explain it, you'd all think, holy crap, this person is a very... I can tell you what had happened, was not something that we can openly discuss without it being kind of, it was actually really bad in most cases, because what had happened, it was in regard to my little sister, who is a, who was at the time a model. And what happened during that time, my sister and my mother went to pilot season in Hollywood for my sister to get into acting and all of that. Now, I can't really go into detail on that, because a lot of the stuff I am going to be talking about is in regard to what happened with my sister during that time. Now, most people think that my little sister made most of it up. And truthfully, at the time, I wasn't a very supportive member of the family. I was a little more into my own thing, and I honestly wish I was a little more supportive, because honestly, that not being a support to my sister had actually hurt not only my sister, but that hurt a lot of my family members who were supportive of my sister's hobbies. So FYI, that actually got me on a lot of my self-esteem issue on that one, because it showed I was not being supportive and being a very virtual, mean person toward my sister, who obviously did go through all that, who obviously had all that happen to her in Hollywood, and none of it really imaginably was as bad as, say, somebody who was actively in Hollywood and did get sexually assaulted or getting hurt. Now, I am going to mention to people who are sensitive to that, in this video I'm not going to go into detail about what my little sister went through, but I will tell you it was not as, say, traumatic, but it was pretty telling considering what my mother had told me as well, is that many of the boys that were staying at the, who were staying with my mother and sister, were actually young adults. They were kids. They were not, okay, they were not legally old enough to be on their own in Hollywood, and I really wish I could have just said it right there. Many of these kids probably went to my mom because my mother was the closest thing to a actual mother that they could actually say, hey, I don't feel comfortable about this, this, and this. And my mom would probably go, yeah, I don't think you should be doing that either. Okay? But yeah, my mom was literally probably the one person in the group that these kids probably went to, because guess what? There were no adults. There were no actual adults in that mansion that I recall, other than that manager and my mom. And my mom wasn't even staying there. Okay? If you watch the video regarding what was going on in Hollywood with the sexual assaults, none of that surprises me in the slightest, because what my mom had seen, there was no parental, I mean, who in their right mind would leave a minor with an adult you don't know? Okay? That has always been kind of like, how did my mom even feel about that? And then I realized, my mom probably did not have an iota of idea what was going on behind the scenes, because, again, these were not her kids. These were not her, it was not supposed to be her responsibility. But here's my mother going, but these are minors, I can't leave these kids alone. You're telling me I have to leave them alone. This doesn't make a world of sense to me, and I'm the consenting adult here. Can you imagine that kind of feeling that my mom was feeling at that moment? Oh my god, I could not actually fathom what was going on in my mom's head. Going through all of that and then being told, oh, it's not happening, you're only imagining it. Right. Sure, Mom. My mother is imagining this. I'm really sure that that's what's happening here. Right. And then Morella told me, I am going to use my sister's name, something that happened, and this is the kicker for me, that told me that my little sister was telling the truth and not lying to me. Okay, there was a meeting that my sister had gone to with a person you probably have heard of named Mr. Weinstein. Now, Mr. Weinstein, if you know who he is a fucking jerk. Now, he wanted my sister, who, by the way, was a minor, to, do something that, by the way, is illegal. He wanted my sister to, against her will, emancipate herself. Now, how old do you have to be to legally emancipate yourself in some cases and willingly do it? Because let me tell you, my little sister was not a willing participant in that one. She gave him, according to what Morella told me, she gave Mr. Weinstein the nastiest, most awful look I have seen her give only one person in my life. And that was her ex-friend, Shafali. And that look was of utter contempt for the man. She said she was going to college, and she was going to college. I will cover that in the video as well, because my little sister did tell me that story, and how much it grossed her out that she was even asked to do it. So, FYI, that actually was a real story, and, my little sister actually did post it on Facebook at one point. I don't have the videos anymore. In fact, we lost a lot of her stuff after she died. My sister did pass away. I can tell you when she passed away and how much this affected the family, because it did affect us a lot. And it is a huge, sad situation with us. And it actually, made us very aware of a situation that could have been so much worse, and we are very thankful that we had the support that we had at that time. Now, whether or not many of the stories are true or not, I believe my sister over a lot of it, because a lot of it, after seeing videos of, say, what Illuminati had put up, it doesn't surprise me. FYI, it actually grosses me out that these people still, some of these people are still in power, and some of these people are still controlling who watches, what is on the media, and all that shit. So, yeah, you get that kind of feeling when you go through a lot of stuff that you saw in Hollywood. I remember being a minor during that time and being told by my mom, FYI, Morella didn't make it all up. And, yeah, I can believe that, because a lot of what Morella talked about did happen. A lot of what Morella talked about was a thing. And honestly, I really don't know how anyone in this country can call my sister a liar and not understand what happened and how it happened. My mom and I have told people in some sense what was a really nasty situation. When you go to Hollywood now, a lot of things have changed. Some for the better, some for the worst. And I personally do not think it's improved. At any point has it improved, because I haven't seen it improve in its own right. And I'm not sure how anyone in Hollywood responds to people now who are have gone through what my sister has seen. And FYI, I do know what my sister went through. Does sound pretty bad, but it can't get any worse than some of the comments that we have heard from people who knew my sister back in the day. Morella did not actually like talking about it. I honestly understand why she didn't like talking about it. I personally do agree with her. I don't like talking about it either. And I'm one of those people who actually took Morella's side on many occasions. And I really do wish there would have been a much better protection for the kids that were in the mansion with that one guy. Actually, honestly, I don't remember his name. I don't remember my sister's own manager's name. Is that bad or not? I can't tell you how much I really wish I could say, yeah, I remember him, but I don't. And I think it's for good reasons that I don't remember him at all. My mom probably is thankful I don't remember that, because the first thing he showed me were pictures of the boys that were part of his theater company. And I was a little wigged out by that. I thought, okay, that's just weird. I don't know whether I should have told my mom or not about that, but he seemed pretty proud of that, and I don't know why he would be proud of kids like that doing theater with him. Because honestly, the kids who were in that man's house were playing video games, learning parts to movies to try out. But my first comment is, where are the parents? Where are the where's the consenting adults here? Because I can't tell you how many times I've actually told my mother that this just didn't feel right. I don't know how many times I've said this in the past. When I do this video, I'm probably going to express a lot more concern, because at that time I was about 16, about 15 or 16, and I was used to having bedtimes and rules, and this guy didn't even have that in his house. Can you actually imagine growing up and not having those rules? Oh my god, that would be like getting me to really, I mean, I could tell you that it kind of made me uncomfortable. So, yeah, I could give you a lot of the FYI, this is not okay. Something about this just did not feel right, and I honestly think it wasn't right, and there was something going on there that actually was going on. And of course, during that time, what could I do? Really? I am a teenager. I am not able to coherently tell my mother, hey, yo, I think this guy's trying to get into some, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, my mother would have just looked at me like, okay, there's nothing I could do about it. We can't call the police because it's just hearsay, whatever you can say. But there was just that weird notion. But there was also the weird notion of the fact that this kind of behavior I had seen probably wasn't something I wasn't used to, considering my background growing up as well. Because there was a guy growing up who was named, his name was Ed. I don't really know his last name, but we know him as Ed. And he was he was really gross. My mother called it, she wouldn't really let this guy he volunteered to watch me and my sister a couple of times, and even she said there was something off about Ed, and she didn't really want us near him. So I understood where my mother was coming from, considering... I would say I'm pretty blessed about not letting things get that far ahead, but I'm still a little of this, to this day, wigged out when I hear the term, what goes on in Hollywood, because unfortunately, growing up and then suddenly realizing my sister and I saw it, and then wondering what do I do, what do I say, because sometimes we had a hard time speaking out even when dealing with my sister's bully. My sister was bullied back between 1996 to 1997 by a girl we call Shafali, and she, I don't remember her last name. I don't really remember much of her at all, other than the fact that she treated my sister like crap, and then turned around and, blatantly blamed my sister for it. And I was like, okay, you're not a very nice person. And for the longest time, my mother said I just sort of closed down a lot of the idea of making friends in other states because of what this girl did, and I personally couldn't handle any more of the bullying to my sister or to myself, and that kind of augments your view of the world and the people you talk to. So when I went to college, I started to realize how that to this day has always bothered me about my sister, is the fact that we couldn't do anything to fix the problems that my sister was having, and I to this day cannot imagine the kind of behaviors that she had to witness in Hollywood when she went. And I'm not sure how I actually really got motivated to talk about half of this, because half of the crap my sister went through was absolutely horrendous. And it involved a lot of people who I knew. And a lot of the people I knew back in that day were absolutely horrendous. I mean, I could tell you a lot about the toxicity at the places I grew up in, but I would never wish it on anybody. But honestly, I hate to tell people this. Unfortunately, that's the way the world works, and you are stuck with it, and people are going to treat you like crap. My mom absolutely hated the fact that I was treated like I was treated horribly by some girls in my class, and there was a girl in my class who, I think most people just considered I called her all sorts of names, so I really cannot be held liable for a lot of the stuff I did to her, but I honestly cannot. So when I do this video, I'm probably going to bring up a lot of stuff that does pertain to what happened in Hollywood that also happened to my sister, but it also happened to myself because in a way a lot of stuff happened kind of ad hoc to my sister because Morella did not understand a lot of what happened and why it happened. Because there's some people that were completely, were people that we really should never have trusted. And I will say that to people, is I am so dead set that my little sister probably had no clue that some of the actions that happened when she was in Hollywood had repercussions, and a lot of people were hurt. But not by her, but by the people that she was forced to associate with. If you are a model, it is extremely difficult to not get treated like you are not as important as, say, someone like I mean, I mentioned this to my mom once. Models like my sister were treated as if they were supposed to be, you know, taking care of everybody else's problems. And then you're like, well, what the fuck? Kind of mentality. I mean, one of my worst, times as I was also being scouted, and I was not even interested because I'm a plus-size person. I did not think I could ever be a model. And of course, lo and behold, there were plus-size models. And I was being told, oh, you can be a model. I'm like, oh, fuck that, no. You're telling me I can be a model, but at the same time, you're telling me, no, you can't. That is, like, one, false advertising, and two, you're lying to somebody. You're leading me into this belief that I can be a model. So, no. No, bitch, no. You're being hypocritical. That is the biggest problem I had with the modeling agencies that my little sister contended with. And, by the way, if you ever actually talk to these people, yes, you can be a model, but it's not worth it. It is not worth your absolute sanity to go in and get told you have to be skinny, you have to be like this. It's perpetuating an anorexic society. And that's the biggest problem I had as a plus-size person. My mother literally told me to ignore these people because even if I was offered, I seriously doubt I was able to be it. Why would you offer me that and then turn around and tell me I'm still not skinny enough? Hello? I'm plus size, you freaking dickheads. That was my biggest argument. And my mother, to this day, did not understand why people treat others like crap and then turn it on their fucking edge that it's like, oh, let's be in. And it turned into a shit show to me. I kind of just called it, okay, I'm done. This is done. I'm finished. You've had your fun. Fuck you. Kind of bullshit. And honestly, that is modeling in a nutshell. Especially if you are a freaking high school kid heading up to your first ever, if you are ever told that you can be anything you want, but, hello, you are being lied to. Also, my mom said that they gaslit her at every damn turn. When that kind of idiocy happens to you, you are told, oh, it's okay, you'll be fine. It doesn't matter that your self-esteem turns into bullshit. Fun, that's great. I absolutely wanted to just, my first inclination that that stuff was not what it seemed was the fact that I was being told by by the person who was with my sister most of the time, who was the manager. Oh yeah, that's the. And I mean, I could not believe he lied to her. I just thought, oh, you do not deserve my time of space. Why would I ever? And, of course, my family, in all the entirety of everything I ever went through, in hopes of never ever going through the modeling agencies ever like that, I probably will tell you as I do the video what you are going to be expected to see. The evidence that my mother put in, even writing to me on freaking postcards about how amazing it is. But you know, freaking there's like a double talk between my mother and I that is going on between me, my mom, and my sister. There is a sort of tongue-in-cheek humor behind it, but there's also this FYI, there's something else going on here, and I can't tell you what's going on because legally it's illegal. And everybody who is legally bound by it can't say anything about it. And it is fucking hard to not cuss about it. Years later, I am still dumbfounded. I remember half the crap my mother has told me that went on, and I was just a freaking teenager. And you're hearing me say, oh, this wasn't true, this never happened. You know, guess what? It did. I'm so sorry that people in the Colorado community of nerds probably don't believe me, but it happened. It happened. That's the fucked up part. It freaking happened. my little sister freaking told me it happened. And yet, my brain can't function. I can't remember my 90% of that conversation because my mind was either A, pissed off, or B, my mind wasn't mature enough to understand any of it. And modeling, there is no understanding that there are some people that do this and they're doing it to freaking hurt kids. And I don't even think I could even fathom the people who I had to deal with in college and high school who to this day know nothing about what was going on and how much shit dragged on even into your adult years. I told my mom that there are sometimes I really wish I could do an entire YouTube video of every single thing that went on that you know was not normal. There's nothing normal about what was going on. And when my mother said, we don't talk about it, you know she's talking about it. You know she's telling you it happened. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You saw it. You heard it. You could see it. And you know that people are going to tell you, oh, by the way, the people that you knew back in high school that knew about what your sister was doing, they don't know jack shit. They literally don't know. Or if they do know, they pretty much blocked it out because it was not as, survey says, as pertinent as they thought it was. My grandmother once said that people who do the kind of things that high school was not meant to do, they do it anyway. There are people in this world that will do things that are relatively wrong. And you know what? That kind of wrong doesn't necessarily mean it's right. My grandmother to this day, I do thank for her and yeah, that's the end of the whole ordeal as of yet. But I am going to mention to people, I will talk about it in the video about how much you know, but you're not willing to figure it out at times, because sometimes that FYI that happened tends to turn into FYI you didn't know. Or if you did know, you couldn't figure it out. My grandmother is still... I'm still shocked 90% of the time by the United States and sometimes even agencies, modeling agencies like the one my sister worked for, that, quite frankly, were a joke. I mean, I could tell you some pretty crappy shit about, I guess I could tell you. But, I mean, I could talk about stuff like what happened in in my childhood where things aren't going the way it is. I think the one that really rubbed me the wrong way is I don't know if I can talk about it without actually feeling like I nearly wanted to slam my head into stuff, because so, yeah, I can tell you a lot of stuff about what happened between, I believe, 94 to 97, because that's like 3 years of my sister's modeling career, and most of it spanned with letters talking about different aspects of modeling. But when it comes to talking about the pedophilia, the craziness, the way people run the industry, there's a lot of stuff that even in Hollywood, when my sister referred it, she didn't call it Hollywood, she called it Hollyweird. And Hollyweird is probably the best description, and I think anyone who ever wants to discuss Hollyweird with me is going to get a lot of really weird comments. Like, yes, that happened. No, you do not want to get into modeling. 2, please do not talk to me about getting into modeling. Because I could tell you right now, under no circumstances will I actually condone the idea of anyone modeling if it is not safe to do so. Hello, it's called having a freaking clue. It is not a safe situation. You are working with people you probably should not trust. And I am really sorry to be that whole, please don't get mad at me about it, but how many of you actually know what is going on in Hollywood? Really, nobody does. You're basically kicking yourself, going, I'm going to be part of this, I'm going to do this, blah blah blah. But do you really want to? I went through listening to my sister having these horrifying ideas that these are great, I want to do this. But then I'm looking at what she wants and I'm like, Morella, do you really want to do that? My mom was like, why are you... I was like, I'm just being realistic here. I want my sister back, but I also want my sister to understand that there are people in this world that are complete and utter crap. And Hollyweird is the queen of the crap shot. I went through watching my little sister get her dreams up, and then she ended up meeting people like, I don't know if I should say who he is, considering Weinstein has done so much damage to people, in the end, I guess it is the ultimate view of the world that I have, like, no respect for the man, and he probably would not have any respect for me, because I am not a pretty little... I would not do as he says. I would probably be the most hard-line person that he probably didn't like, but not to mention the fact that I am not a person who would do as he said. Yeah, I'm not that type of person, and when people start telling me, I'm not sure how I can really describe what happened to my sister without really being as cold about it, because a lot of people got hurt, and a lot of people in this country look at people like Harvey Weinstein like he is some sort of fucking god, and I look at him like, oh, really? Yeah, fuck you. I had a joke one time, and my mom thought it was very funny when I would say it. And one of the funny things I said is, about the whole thing with Weinstein, I literally told my mom this. I said, I really wish in Hollywood you would have met Carrie Fisher. You and her would have been best buddies, because holy crap, my mother would have totally been in on the cow tongue thing. Had hands down, she would have done it. My mom would have just went, yeah, that was me. And her whole thing would be like, yeah, that was me. I was in on it, because my mother would not have given she would not have given the guy a freaking... She'd give him a headache. Weinstein would probably find my mother as freaking bad as ever, because my mother is one of those people who, she was a good mom. I would say my mother is a good mother, but at that time, many people thought my mother was a bad parent for letting my sister go. But honestly, what could she have done? I mean, honestly, what could my mother have done? Tell my sister, oh hell no, you're not going. No, she would tell her to go. But the thing is, my mom also isn't the type of person that would back down. My mother was not one of those parents. She is not one of those people. She is one of those people who would probably make Weinstein's existence no, my mother would not, my mother would probably have been one of those people that, yeah, you don't want to mess with. My mother is not I think the best description, and I will say it, if you ever watch, The Metal Family, my mother could easily be like Victoria. Except for the sledgehammer part. I don't think my mother would show up to a parent-teacher conference with a sledgehammer. my mother would probably show up with a lawyer. I'm not kidding, my mother actually threatened to do that at multiple times to a teacher. And per reason has little to do with what I'm going to say, but here I go. The reason my mother showed up to a meeting with a lawyer once is because my mom actually threatened to sue the school. And of course, my grade level principal, being the Nimrod that he was, well, he wasn't really a grade level principal, he was a, what was the term? How did my mother put it? A self-centered, my mother called, oh, right, she called him a self-centered, a-hole who needs to go get his fucking ass checked. Yeah, my mom really didn't mince words to the person who bullied my sister and me. My mom called it the correct terminology of a human being who probably should have their ass checked at the door is a person who cannot figure out that they're a fucking dipshit who can't figure out that they're not a very good person. Yeah, I love my mom. I will say that. She did teach me the one thing, true thing in life. If you're not careful, my mother will be a death sentence. I have told that to people before, and some people have laughed, some people have literally shot themselves. Because, again, my mother is not the one. Why? I can't really say, but I will say my mom defended a lot of those kids back in Hollywood, and I think that Hollywood should be renamed Hollyweird, but that's personally my personal opinion, and I know for a fact that I'm probably going to get reamed by the end of this, and I'm going to end up telling the story to my mother of why I got reamed on Facebook or anywhere or YouTube about a freaking event that happened when I was a kid. But FYI, it's not as if anything has ever been accomplished when my sister has said multiple times that there are people in this world that are complete, utter assholes who shouldn't be allowed near children. I have heard my mother actually say that there are some people that really shouldn't be around children. And the people who are usually ones that shouldn't be around kids are generally the people you don't want near your children in the first place. I.e. the assholes who, the other thing is, the other drama involves an art, commentator named Thuman, who I love. I love her artwork. She's a beautiful artist, and I wish I could afford to buy some of her merch, because honestly, I would love to. But I'm a broke little person, and yeah, I don't understand the whole, commentary of the racist BS that she has gone through. I am not one of those people who I actually don't tolerate racism in its contents, because I've been through racist, okay, I have a tendency to be more toward the fact that I am white, but majority of my friends have either been Asian, Black, or Hispanic. And my white friends usually are those people who actually hang out with the same kind of people. We just don't really see the color that often. We just sit there and go, so, what do you think of this? Oh, that was awesome! Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's totally cool. And we literally cannot fathom why somebody can be a freaking racist. Because it is totally, to us, an alien concept. I have told people this, and they go, what the hell? Yeah, you're right, we don't understand. I mean, I actually said something funny, and I don't think they understood what it meant. It says, our bases belong to us, and somebody couldn't get it. I can't read that. My freaking thing sucks. But yeah, honestly, I don't know anything about racism because I am like a fucking idiot. So, anytime someone mentions race, I generally sit there going, hey cool, it's my friend. And I get, no, that's not right, no, hey cool, hi! I like fucking Izzy in My Little Pony, where I would probably, in the stupidity of the moment, yell, hi new friend! I am not sure why I would yell, hi new friend! in the middle of this whole thing, because people will think I am a fucking moron. I have actually been called that in a freaking conversation on Facebook where a guy, before they actually had freaking standards, called me a fucking moron for not understanding the whole why do you hate somebody because they're Hispanic. My mother, I absolutely didn't get it because my mother's comment is, my daughter doesn't understand why you're calling her racist. Because she doesn't understand the fact her friends cannot be the color you want her. Yeah, I don't get it. Why does it matter? My mother has once told me I cannot for the life of me understand racism because we were never raised with it in our house. Because my grandfather was one of those people who couldn't quite keep his mouth shut, and when he did say something that didn't sound right, we usually treated it like he was going, yeah, we just totally, I couldn't fathom it, I couldn't understand it. And people to this day in my family have told me that it is freaking hilarious to watch me as I cannot get the concept of racism because it just doesn't work. Because my brain doesn't work that way. My brain just looks at it going, oh, well, my skin's not your color, but you know what? I don't care. Can we still be friends? Because I've had people go, holy crap, you have no concept, do you? Should I? No, you're fine. It becomes sort of that, oh look, you're not really sure how this works, do you? No, I don't. Because my brain tells me one thing and I don't get it the rest of the damn time. Like, why does somebody's skin color matter if they're not hurting anybody? Why does that matter? And some people get it, some people don't. And that is the funniest part of growing up in a family where you're just going, yeah, I don't get it. And you're yelling I don't get it more times than you can yell, "Hi, I'm not sure what the fuck I'm doing right now. Can you please not, like, I don't understand the whole point." Okay, that was funny. Someone was named Bunny Poo Poo. And I still think my family does not get that whole, that my brain turns off if somebody says something I find kind of dumb. Because it turns out that my mother thought one time a pair of hearts... I remember one time going out of my way one time as a kid. I just couldn't get that whole, my mom just told me the reason I couldn't hang out with somebody, and of course but yeah, I never understood the whole, why do you have to hate somebody because of their color of their skin? Because it ever really got to me. I just sat there going, why would you do that to a human being? My mom absolutely heard me yell that one day, and she said, "Oh my god, you just yelled at somebody because they did something that kind of wrecked my world in a way," but I don't think they understood the reason why I yelled that. But then again, my order of the universe was not exactly clear on the concept of go out and make friends, but be aware that some friends are more irritating than others. But of course, the whole concept to me of racism just is totally lost, because my family does not understand that I am not a freaking racist. So every time somebody says something that I don't understand, it turns into, how can you not understand this? I don't know. It's the same problem I had with, well, the word, it's kind of like when I was watching My Little Pony and the concept of you said a bad word, or you said a forbidden word, and you're going, wow, what do I say? I guess thanks. Because I think it's one of my favorite comments is from My Little Pony, the new Friends thing, and it cracked me up because it kind of showed how redundantly silly it is. Because when Izzy and the rest of the ponies are walking through Bridalwood, and they look like unicorns, and she has to explain that unicorns are highly superstitious and that magic is a bad word. And it kind of cracks me up because there are some words in my family that come out as being kind of questionable. And for the longest time, I think the funniest one that I think I can remember is we never said the word Miracle Whip. We never said it. We kind of called it gross. And when I got with my husband, what does he like on his sandwich? Miracle Whip. And my mother is, to this day, going, ew, Miracle Whip. And I have to explain to her that Miracle Whip is not used the way she thinks it is. It is the funniest thing. And all I remember from My Little Pony, ooh, you said a bad word. Zoop, beep, bop, boop, beep, bop. And then you have that. And I kid you not, that is actually the funniest thing about my friends and my friends' kids, is the fact that we actually had a pair of Dragon Fang. Okay. My family is still to this day like that. And I don't think it's ever gonna change. Because that's my family. And Miracle Whip is still a bad word. You do not use Miracle Whip for anything. And here I am, married to the one man who absolutely loves Miracle Whip. And I love him. And of course, my family may not like him 100%, but he has stood by my parents and their decisions for years. And it's pretty weird, because the two of them don't get along that well. But with the situation we're in now, I'm watching my husband look at my mother and say, I agree with you. I may not agree with you all the time, but damn, Sheila, I'm agreeing with you, because what can I do? How can we fix this? And I am like kind of gobsmacked, because my mother is the most obvious stubborn person I have ever met. And yet, when my mother hears my husband say, I may not agree with you 100% half the time, but I agree with you now. And he will sit there and he will agree with her. It is freaking weird, because the two don't get along. And I have heard him agree with her on multiple occasions, because there are some things that I have heard my husband say that he cannot handle people who are assholes. And I agree with him. The only thing I don't agree with is a lot of the drama that we have been forced into. And I don't really think I can bring it up here without crying over it, because it is, it is really painful, and I honestly, if you are a watcher and you know what's going on in my family, it isn't easy. It is very hard to say goodbye to somebody, and then you're being told you're a bad person. And you're told that you can't do anything. So I told my mom one day, I just can't handle this anymore. And my mother said, yeah, you don't have to. Hard silver. And I'm not gonna be talking hard on people about how you treat others, but I am gonna tell you that my family is something I care about, and unfortunately hard silver ingot, electrum ingot. Alright. Hard silver ingot, that's easy to make. Alright, hard silver ore. Well, I am gonna say it before I cut out that when the move to Twitch happens, there's gonna be a little bit of a difference in qualities. I'm not gonna be as dramatic about everything. I am gonna be a little more, open to talking about a lot of other things. My platform won't be as restricted as it is now, because right now I am restricted to what I can tell you and what I can't tell you. And at the moment, the reason the restrictions are the way they are is because of a certain individual. He is not, he will not be named. He actually treated me pretty badly in the past, and I was supposed to call this guy family, so I can't exactly, say anything, because even to my husband, I don't want to be telling people things. Even my husband finds, this whole situation horrifying, to say the least. He does not like this said individual very much. In fact, he has been pretty animate about siding with my mother and being a supporter of my family for, God, I don't know how I can say it. My husband has been so much more than just my husband. Right now, I am very upset with the fact that this has happened. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through with my sister being gone and this happening. It is not a situation that is ideal for anybody, and it is painful, it is heartbreaking, it is very hard to deal with. And I can't tell you how many times I felt like screaming at the top of my lungs at people. And I can't even do that. I can't even yell. I can't scream, I can't yell, I can't get angry, I can't. Because if I get angry, he wins. And that is the worst part of it. If I get angry, he wins. If I get upset, he wins. Can you imagine having to just pretend to be all happy and giggles and doing FF14 like there's nothing wrong and your whole life is just peachy keen? Yeah, thanks a lot. That's not exactly helping the issue, is it? Now, what do I do to make myself feel better is I play a fucking game and just pretend that nothing's happening. So yeah, you can guess what my brain is going through. And you're saying, it'll get better. It's tried. The ship has sailed and I have been running through the entirety of my existence trying not to scream, yell, and cry my eyes out, because here I am last night crying my eyes out because I was called a terrible human being. And yet here I am having to pretend to be a good person, and I can't even do that. So personally, having to be a person that has to tolerate people who just aren't good people just doesn't really help me all that much. So I am gonna say, if you are going to support this channel, if you want to help, that's great. But be aware that there are people that can... I don't have a Patreon yet. I don't have a lot of things, and I'm just this small creator who just likes to play video games and do what I've been doing just for fun. I don't know. I've been playing this game for a while. I've been enjoying my life. But the truth is, after a while, it becomes the monotonous fact that I am doing this just so I don't have to deal with what happens. Okay, I know I have an electrode in somewhere. No, that's rose gold. No, that's copper. That's mithril. I have everything but that. Damn. So yeah, it's turned into the whole factoid. I am now living a life of trying to piece myself together and trying not to be a total killjoy at the same time. So yeah, I'm trying my damnedest to not cry. And do I dare treat anyone like I have a disability? Okay. How many people know what a learning disability is? If you don't know what it is, I can give you a description of what my brain is going through right now, and the whole concept of I'm probably going to lose my shit in about, I don't know. I have never lost my shit over anything as much as I've lost my shit over almost losing my apartment, and that was back in Enchanted Hearts Over Ink. Alright. What I don't get is how I can go days without playing my video games, and here I am trying to actually not scream at myself. What I really understand very little of is why people get upset over the fact that I actually do have feelings. And when I was when I was growing up as a learning disabled adult, as a learning disabled child, I was told that I didn't have feelings, that I didn't have emotions, and I was just this thing that people could make fun of, and I just had to deal with it. And that was one of the worst parts about being a learning disabled adult, is coming to realize that I can't handle people, particularly people who think I am completely an idiot, so I just don't really say anything. And I pray every single day that my learning disability doesn't kill me, because somehow I think that it will, and I am a complete idiot, so that is the whole myth and legend of learning to live with your disability and finding out that people don't really care about you. And you have to learn to care for yourself. I learned to self-care quite a bit, and one of my big self-cares is doing this. So here I am, playing video games, talking to myself, oftentimes alone, where I cannot handle hurting another human being. Who in their... So yes, I'm powering up my freaking... So, what I'm gonna do before I leave and tell you is, yes, I'm doing the video regarding my sister and her modeling career and all the bullshit she had to deal with. I'm also doing videos on a couple of the things I've had to witness in my lifetime that are pretty much, I don't know, weirder than maybe going through an entirety of my entire existence listening to my sister's ex-husband being an idiot, and the whole concept of I'm just gonna sit there and take the bullshit and go, haha, they're done it, got my thing, bye-bye, and shut down. Yeah, that's about it. I think that's about all I can handle at the moment before I go and try to smack some common sense into people that my ex-husband is my sister's ex is an idiot, and I am supposed to not supposed to enjoy that part of his rampant stupidity of being an idiot. I literally have zero patience for idiocy, and that kind of delegitimizes a lot of things I've sat through in my childhood. And one of my favorite things I've sat through is watching my sister's ex-boyfriends make more of themselves into diminutive idiots. Alright, I am gonna mention a few things coming up. I am going tomorrow to be at Rocky Mountain Con. If you are one of my few watchers that likes to go to Rocky Mountain Con and try to drive me up my fucking gourd, go right ahead. I'm not gonna stop you, because you know what? More is the merrier, and I really don't really think anyone's really going to attend this year with the way COVID is. Oops, I said the oh my god, I said the word. Yes, I said the C word. I'm sorry. The world shall... I shall be demonetized. Wait. Like, I'm not even monetized. What the fuck? I mean, I don't really, think I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that word, but I honestly don't want to be like that total killjoy of a person who is going to tell you, please do me a favor. I don't know any of you on Facebook personally, but I do know, please get vaccinated. Please do what you can to help your fellow human beings out. Because we're totally getting tired of this bullshit and this this anti-vax stuff just makes things worse and it makes you look like a total, it kind of makes you look like a jerk. Okay? So, if you are an anti-vaxxer, I'm sorry, you're acting like a jackass and you're mean. Please do yourself a favor and actually do your research, because I did mine when I was looking into what Moderna and all that and its adverse reactions, because I have adverse reactions to flu medication. So yeah, I did my research and I didn't skimp on it, and I actually weighed in the benefits versus the cons. And as a person who has a learning disability, I'm not autistic, so I kind of went, fuck, yeah, I'm doing it. But more or less, I do it because I view not getting sick as a plus, considering I get sick normally, on a normal everyday scale, of being a freaking idiot and catching a cold at the easiest temp of a seasonal cold. So can you imagine seeing me sick as a dog and I'm going hacking up a lung? Because, yeah, that happened when I was like 12. When I mentioned I hacked up a lung, I actually literally, I had a cold that was so bad that, having the flu would have been an improvement. I am not fucking shitting. I had the flu and I didn't know it until like the last damnable minute. And my mother had to actually call me out of school. And by the way, if you're a minor watching these videos, I'm really sorry about the cursing and the weird stuff, because I have So, yeah, I have had the worst case of a cold, flu, and anything else you can think of, because, woohoo, I get sick every year of my childhood. I have caught the flu. I have caught colds. I have caught everything under the damn sun. And my mother has said that this is just the tip of the iceberg when I get the colds that end with me going to have to go see a doctor. And my mother doesn't like doctors. I am not a doctor person. I do not like going to the doctor. I do not like going anywhere. And if you are not vaccinated, it makes it worse for me. Because it makes it, I have to go to the doctor. And I hate doctors. And I hate going to doctors. Simply because it is the most irritating thing in my life, and think I've bored you guys all enough.